All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for logging in for our informative webinar here today. We are so thrilled and excited to share with you over the course of the next hour. The team and I have assembled a fun agenda for all of us. It'll be informative, it'll be interesting. Just as a matter of introductions, I'm Tom Baker, the CEO of Variety, the children's charity. We are tent number one, but we'll get to that in a second. Many of you probably know my wonderful predecessor from over the years, Charlie LaValle. He is still very much involved and active with us. And in fact, these little cardboard cutouts were part of our Labor Day celebration on last Monday, as 50 plus of us were marching there and biking in the Labor Day parade. So Charlie sends his thoughts to all of you. It certainly has been a wonderful transition here with my predecessor, Charlie LaValle. But our agenda for today, we're going to go through the overview of the history of our organization, the current programs. You'll get to know the team. They are absolutely incredible. If you don't know our team already, you will really enjoy working with them and getting to know them. We'll talk about our eligibility guidelines. We'll get into the application process for all three of our core programs. We'll go over the verification of what we need. We'll talk about LMJs, letters of medical justification, fittings, order forms, and just what to know after the application is submitted, including how the presentations get done. So there'll be a lot of tips. You're always welcome throughout the session today to put your questions into the chat. Feel free to let us know what's on your mind. But overall, we're just very excited to be here with you. As some of you probably know, Variety started here in Pittsburgh. We do cover other states. We cover other countries. It's such an interesting organization in that way, and the fact that we are truly global as an organization throughout the world. And I would say in these 9 months, it's been just really interesting and a good opportunity to get to know the tents across the country and across the world. It's been a really interesting process. But as the team and I always say, we are number one. So we also got these foam fingers. thanks, Dr. Kilmeyer for the laugh there. Yeah, but we are number one. And this organization, this mission of serving children across the world, all started right here in southwestern Pennsylvania back in 1928. The little girl that you see in that picture, her name ended up being Catherine Variety Sheridan. Our humanitarian award that we'll be giving out on November 13th at our gala to Rich Fitzgerald, who works in 10 of our counties now with the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. That is the name of the award. It's the highest honor you can get and receive within Variety. It's all named after that little girl that was the inspiration for our organization. And it all started here with the Variety Club back in 1927, and then Variety, the children's charity, in 1928. A lot of historical achievements going on with our organization, which we are very proud of. Some of you might have heard we are going to celebrate our 3,000th bike officially this week on Thursday at Highmark. Our founding My Bike sponsors, so Deb Rice Johnson will be sponsoring that. We're also going to present our 3,001st bike as well to get going on in the future and all the good things going on. So my bike program over these last 12 years is now 3,000 plus. This current fiscal year has been a record-breaking year for my Stroller program. The first time ever, over 200 strollers through the program have been shared with children and family. And then we are so happy about all the good things going on with My Voice. My Voice has now surpassed the other two programs as the most prolific program among our three core opportunities in Variety. So that is definitely a good news. And we'll be sharing with you, but we did just secure another $1 million through DCED, the Department of Community and Economic Development. So if you were concerned, if you were worried about the future of My Voice, the future of My Voice with Variety is very, very solid and very strong. With that, I want to introduce you to the programs team. You will see some of us traveling across the Commonwealth. We stop in many sheets, many turnpike rest stops. We travel this state well, and we love doing it. It's a true honor to get to do it. The longest tenured member, and actually they're very close, Deanna David is our director of programs. She got promoted. She's waving too. She got promoted last year, and we're all very proud and excited for Deanna, certainly, and all the good things going on in her new leadership role as our director. Kayla and Deanna started around the same time. Kayla Haynes is amazing and is our program coordinator. She also oversees all of the applications that come through within Variety. And then Molly Crawford has the most counties, so we travel a good bit. And she has been a breath of fresh air. If I can just share one thing that she's added over the course of this year, we now actually have bags at the event. So when the kids come to a presentation day, there's toys, there's fidgets, there's all kinds of good things to keep them busy while they listen to us speak a little bit. So Molly's always bringing the good ideas. And this trio of programs team is literally remarkable. If you haven't worked with them already, you're in for a treat. And if you are working with them now, I'm sure you're having a real good experience. So with that, thank you for being friends to Variety. For those of you that have been to a presentation day, you know that hour that we spend together where we present the life-changing adaptive equipment, there's nothing like that in this world. It's one of the best hours of every week that we get to experience together. With that, I'll turn it over to our wonderful Director of Programs, Deanna David. Again, thank you all for joining us.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I am so excited to see a lot of familiar faces, but also a lot of new names as well. So thank you so much for joining. I'm going to start by giving an overview of our 3 programs, give some detail about the equipment itself before we jump into the application. First, our My Bike program started in 2012. We provide the Riften adaptive bike. That is the bike model for you therapists that we use. We partner with Blackburns Medical, who's been with us since 2012 when we started, to get the equipment, to do all the safety checks, to do all the fittings for the kids. Blackburns Medical is our partner in that. But these new Riften bikes, we just in November of 2023 were able to offer the new models. And these are just fantastic. The features, the safety features, the parent assist features, there's even pedal resistance and all sorts of new accessories on there that really make it so that anyone could ride. With the new model, the small bikes go as small as a 12-inch inseam. So that means we're able to capture a lot of the 3-4-year-olds and more kids that way, as well as on the other end, the large bikes now go up to a max weight of 310 pounds, which is wonderful. You could be 6'4", 6'5", or more and still ride this bike. It can be your forever bike for our 21-year-olds. So yes, definitely some great enhancements there. Our sponsorship cost for this bike is currently $2,500 and will be going up with, the costs, how everything's going up now. But yeah, these are just, it's so worth it. What the feedback we've gotten from families and we've gotten from therapists is they're loving this new adaptive bike model. Now, the My Stroller program, the model for this one is the Conveyed Easy Rider. These have the transport options available on them so that they can be put into a bus or a van if the child, uses the stroller to get to school. And these are just so wonderful for many situations. One being if the child's in a wheelchair but needs a quick on-the-go mobility method, a quick way to, mom takes the child to the store or to a restaurant and needs to be in and out, rather than taking that big, heavy, bulky wheelchair that takes 2 people to get in and out of the car. If they can fit it in the car, they're able to take the stroller instead and get in and out quickly. As well as for children who have behaviors such as elopement, or they're known as like runners, or just take off, right? Don't have the safety awareness. Many of them may be nonverbal and can't ask for help. You don't know, different situations. And for those children and those families, a lot of times we've learned that they just stay home. They don't go out because they don't have a safe way to get out. So these strollers are also great for elopement behaviors in that situation as well. Now, the big question I know everyone has, I apologize, is currently, so the My Stroller program, Tom mentioned, we've had the biggest year we've ever had, which is unbelievable. These are getting more and more popular, but we're currently on a waiting list. Behind that is the cost. I mean, just like everything, really, the cost of the equipment went up significantly this past year. We went from a $1,500 to an $1,800 sponsor. And we were recently notified it's going to go up significantly. Some of those accessories between 30 and 50% increase in price. So foreseeing that and seeing all the ones we have in inventory and the funding coming in, we do have to move to a waiting list for now, what that means is the family can get on a waiting list online or they can call in. They do not have to complete a whole application. They just need to get on the waiting list. And then once we have funding coming in, funding available for whatever regions, we're able to pull them off and then invite them to fill out the full application and go from there. But yeah, we'll go over that a little bit more. But that's really what our waiting list is. We want to make it easier for the families and not have them fill out a whole application just to be on the waiting list. So please, if they have questions, they can reach out to us, but they can either call in or they can go on our website and we have the waiting list, just a small form for them to fill out to get on that. I know how essential this equipment is. It really hurts us to have to do it. But the cost is kind of forcing us to. That being said, too, if you in your region of the state, if you have ideas, if you have connections with potential funders or companies or fundraising ideas and you want to get involved to try to keep my stroller going in your area, absolutely, please reach out to us. We would love to hear it and love to work with you on any of those ideas. And we want to keep this program rolling for sure. So that's our My Stroller program for now. Our My Voice program. So this is a restricted iPad. It's a dedicated device because it's an iPad and we take it and we restrict it just to be for communication. This is meant to be the child's 24/7 device. It's a device that doesn't just stay at school or speech therapy. It can be taken home. It can be taken anywhere with that child into the community so that they have a way to express, to have a voice 24/7. They can say things like, "I love you, Mom." That's a very common one we hear. The first time they say, "I love you," insane. Expressing feelings, expressing choices, being able to make choices. Things like sharing your personality. We've heard kids tell jokes. We've heard kids be sassy and fun. It's just amazing what something so simple can provide to a child to be able to express themselves as they deserve. What's on that device? So the app that's on that device will be selected by the speech therapist of the child. It needs to have been trialed, so the speech therapist will do a trial evaluation to make sure there's a good fit for each child. So it really is individualized, and we partner with these speech therapists to determine what goes on these devices. Other than that app, there is the camera and photo album, and that's it. This is really just meant to be a dedicated voice device. And as Tom mentioned, we did just get confirmed for funding going forward for My Voice, so we can continue to provide hundreds of these devices across the Commonwealth. We're super excited to keep this program rolling. So let's jump into our eligibility guidelines. Who is eligible for Variety Pittsburgh's programs? We are in 59 counties in Pennsylvania, and you'll see them listed there. We're just in these 59 counties right now. I do want to note, there's a little note in the application as well, but I want to point it out because we do get questions. So for children in group homes, right now, the way that our model and our funding is organized, we can't currently provide equipment to children in group homes, unfortunately. But I do also want to point out foster care. We do and can, and please will, absolutely will provide equipment to children in the foster care system. What we do in that case is we ask the current foster family, the current guardians, to apply for the child and work with the therapist that they're working with currently. We ask that they include the case manager information too, so that if something were to change, if they were to move placements, we have a contact so we can continue that application and get them that equipment. But that's how we handle that. We definitely absolutely provide equipment to children in foster care. We need a diagnosis, and that should be included in the application by the parent, as well as it's written into the letters of justification, which we'll go over. And the age, we are 3 through 21. Through 21, meaning yes, a child or 21-year-old youth can apply. After 21 is when we can no longer provide equipment based on our guidelines, but 21 is okay. And we start at 3. Now, I know a lot of speech therapists, you work, I've heard you guys are working with devices earlier and earlier, and that's wonderful, introducing those at age 2 a lot of times. And that's great, but please have the family, if they want to apply, wait till 60 days prior to the 3rd birthday. And then we can like get it started, get it rolling, get it approved so that as soon as they turn 3, we can get a device out to them. So yes, 60 days prior to the 3rd birthday. Last, we have those income guidelines. If you look at that chart there, it shows by household size and it shows the maximum amount the family can make to be eligible. And you can see those are pretty high. We go up to 500% above poverty. So 156 for a family of 4. And we do that just because, just understanding that families with children with disabilities often have a lot more expenses, right? So we try to consider that as well. Those go up every year based on the federal poverty guidelines, which are released every January. So if you're working with a family who thinks they're over or is close or is definitely over, have them check back like late January. Our application's always updated by then, or even just like send us an email and we'll check into it. We'll look into what's coming if we can. And they may be eligible the next year. We've had that happen many times. One year they're not, and then very soon they are with the way the guidelines go up. So how do families apply? Our families, they can apply either online at varietypittsburgh.org/apply now. I'll have Kayla, if you haven't already, put that in the chat so that you can click on it and open it up if you want to take a look. We also have a PDF version, which is on there, and we can email it or mail it to the family if they prefer a paper copy. We have a fillable version now too, if they prefer to just fill it out on the PDF, they can do that as well. So many different versions available. Most definitely apply online, but either one works for us. Now, the parent or guardian, the family does have to complete the application. A therapist can't do it for them. It's amazing. It's awesome if a therapist or a teacher or support person, social worker, is there to help them through it. But we definitely require that the parent read through that application thoroughly, make sure they understand and sign as well, sign the application. Speaking of signing, I do want to mention if it is a 2-parent or 2-guardian household, we ask that both parents or guardians sign, or we will have to go back and ask them to get the other signature for us. For the application as well, if the family is interested in more than one of our programs, we don't cut them off at one, right? So they can get a bike, a stroller, and a voice. They would just select that on their application. And it's one application for all 3 programs. So please encourage them to select whichever ones that they're interested in and get that in so that, they're not wasting time filling out a new application we didn't need them to. I'm going to point out, okay, household members, we do need all household members listed. Insurance info. I get this question a lot, and that's why I just want to point it out. We do have a spot on our application that asks for insurance info. just your primary and your secondary. I want to say that this is purely for data collection purposes. Because we work with some major health insurance supporters, we just like to collect that information so we can share if it would be helpful. And sharing, I mean, in terms of numbers, not in terms of names ever. So, and I also want to say that we never, ever bill insurance. So variety equipment should never interfere with, getting equipment through insurance. So keep that in mind too. If a parent leaves that blank and isn't comfortable answering, that's okay too. We're not going to chase them for it. But if you get that question while you're helping a family out, let them know it's strictly for data collection purposes. The other two parts we'll go over are income and letter of justification. So income verification, again, filled out by the parent. They'll see either this on the PDF application or something very similar online. We just ask for them to list the sources of income. And what's very important, the most important part there is that bottom line, the bottom blank that says what's their total monthly income for the household. And that just really, this whole chart helps us determine what exactly to ask for, what documentation we need on our end. So if we need to go back and ask for something, it's all very clear there for us. So please have them complete that. And these are the different options. Now, we offer a lot of options and I'm going to walk through them. We really want to be able to capture any situation. So that's why there's all these different options, but we really try to make it as simple as possible. I always tell therapists or whoever's supporting a family and applying, if you're not sure, if we go through this and you're not sure what to submit the application anyway without it. Because then at least Variety has your contact information. Either myself, Kayla, or Molly will reach out and we'll help them through the rest. We'll walk them through, get to know their situation and help them find exactly what's going to work for them. So the first option, which we get a lot because it's pretty simple, just submitting your most recent federal tax return, especially early in the year. That's a super simple one we get a lot of. And that's it. That would be all we would need. We do ask, please, families, black out your social security numbers. We don't need that information. We don't want it, and it's for your safety. So we mentioned that as well. So that's option one. Then you're done. If you don't want to do option one, there's some options here for families who receive benefits through SNAP or who receive free or reduced lunch program, who participate in that in their schools. And this is or too. So SNAP, if you just want to give us SNAP information, you're done. Or if you just want to give us free or reduced lunch, you're done there. For SNAP, we ask for either that like enrollment or benefit letter, some documentation that shows the name, the recipient name, a date, like usually it's the renewal date or the next payment date, something that shows that it's active. And that's really all we need on that documentation. It's typically something that's mailed to you or you can get on your PA Compass account, which everyone who receives these benefits should have either online or there's actually an app now. And I accept screenshots. We can do screenshots or pictures of all those, different things, of those pages showing the SNAP benefits. So as long as they give us that documentation and they complete this chart, done. That's it. Same with free or reduced lunch if they want to choose that option. If they sent in a letter from the school or some kind of documentation showing that someone in their household, it doesn't even have to be the child applying, someone in the household receives free or reduced lunch, and they complete this chart and their total income there and their income is eligible, that's it, they're done. One thing with SNAP I wanted to point out quickly is that EBT cards, we can't just take a picture of the EBT cards, and that's just because we can't tell from that card if it's current. There's usually just a name on there and EBT, and we just don't know if it's current. So that's why that's the case, and we require a little bit more documentation. But if they submit that, we always reach out and we ask and work through some options like Compass of exactly how we can get what we need. So that's option 1 or 2. Those are definitely the most popular options because they're the easiest. They're pretty much the simplest. Option 3 is really just catch everything else. If option 1 and option 2 do not work for the family, this is everything else that they may have. So if in employment, they don't have a tax return, but they have their W-2, you can submit your W-2. We don't accept pay stubs except last resort now, just because we were having a lot of trouble with pay stubs and reading different ones. So W-2 or tax returns definitely preferred, but if there's no other option in terms of, it's a brand new job or whatever it might be, we'll make an exception for that. Self-employed, for self-employed, we do require that federal tax return or a year-to-date profit and loss statement. Seasonal tax return is easiest, or something showing, what they've made during that season. Unemployment, you usually get that notice of financial determination. We'll just take that. SSI and SSDI is also a very common one. So for SSI, your most recent award or benefit verification letter, you can request that online and often get that in the mail as well. For SSDI, you get a form 1099 1099 at the end of the year. That we can just accept that if that's applicable. Or even a bank statement that shows the deposit of SSI. If they don't have their forms or they can't access their account or something, a bank statement works that shows the deposit, as long as it shows the recipient name in it and the amount and the date, we can accept it. And I'll point out child support as well is one that we get. The support orders works, as well as like a payment history, a 12-month payment history. Yeah, so those kind of just capture a lot of different ones. But like I said, if the family looks at this, has no idea, or is overwhelmed in any way, you are so welcome to just submit it without it, because then we can absolutely help you through. Now, for our therapists, we finished all the parents, the families' responsibilities there. For the side of the therapist, we're going to start with my bike and my stroller. We do need a letter of justification for all 3 programs, a different one. So please don't combine your bike and stroller one, since they're different programs. We'll need those different letters. For bike and stroller, they can be written by a PT or OT. Even a primary care physician, a doctor, a physician assistant, or a nurse practitioner can write that as well. If you are a physical therapy assistant or occupational therapy assistant, we just ask that a supervisor sign the letter as well. You're absolutely welcome to write it, but just have someone sign that as well. These letters, they need to be on letterhead for your company or school. They should have your formal signature. There's some examples there. We need actually a handwritten signature or the official electronic signature. I know doctors' offices use that a lot. So there's some examples of what we accept and what we don't. And we'll reach back out to you if we need letterhead, if we need signature, all of those things. We do have templates available now too. So you can either get those online at varietypittsburgh.org, or you can reach out to us. Either of us can send you the template too. So what else needs to be on bike and stroller letters? So the My Bike letter specifically, we do ask for the child's height, weight, and inseam to be on those letters. That is really essential in determining the right sizing of bike. Why is a Riften adaptive bike being requested, and why is it medically appropriate? How is it therapeutic or beneficial for that child? Kind of giving us some details about how it could benefit that child is really helpful. And last, very important, is has the child ever trialed a Riften adaptive bike? A trial is something, and Molly will get into that later, that is required. And there are 2 models now. There's that old Riften model and the new Riften model, and they are very different. So that's why knowing that is important in your letter. So for the My Stroller letter, these are what's specific to the stroller letter. Does the child currently use a wheelchair or a stroller? Kind of how are they currently getting around? How are they currently mobile? How will the Conveyed Easy Rider benefit them? Is it mobility reasons, safety reasons, a combination of both? Just giving some examples or detail on that is really helpful. Any additional accessories that need to be added to that stroller. So with the strollers, you should be completing this letter and looking at the order form at the same time, because any of the additional accessories that you request need to be justified on there because they are all additional cost. And for funding reasons, we like to have a medical justification in there as well. So things like the transport option or the support tray, the support vest, the upper support tray, the angle adjustable foot plates, you'll see those all on the order form. And if you don't see that online, it is online, but you can absolutely reach out to us to get that one as well. Please justify that in your letter. And then, yes, you could submit your order form and that LMJ at the same time, and we use both of those to place the order. Now I'm going to turn it over to Molly Crawford, our program manager, to finish my bike and my stroller process, and then we're going to go over my voice as well.
Hi, everyone. So once the application has been submitted, we receive the LMJ. For the My Bike, we're going to do a trial and a bike fitting. So this is really important for my PTs and my OTs that are listening in right now. You are only going to complete the order form for the bike if the child has trialed a new model Riften bike. And so it's a very new model. We know that a lot of places don't have it. So if you don't have it, it's okay. Just don't fill out that order form. And if that's the case, we'll invite the family to a community fitting event with Blackburn's Medical. We encourage you to watch the My Bike program tutorial video on our website before applying. Blackburn's in this video goes over how to take the bike apart, how to put it back together, how to transport it in your vehicle, how to get your child on and off of it safely. For the My Stroller order form, so the stroller order form can be completed by a PT, OT, a PCP, physician assistant, certified nurse practitioner, and you can find the stroller order form online, or you can reach out and email your region's program managers. So that would be myself, Deanna, or Kayla. It can be submitted with the LMJ or not, and if it's not, you will be hearing from us. When sizing, it's really, really important to think about where this child is going to be in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years. Right now, Blackburn's is recommending that you go at least 2 inches greater than the hip width for most children to allow for growth room, but please consider their growth rate when you're placing that order. The last thing we want is for a child to grow out of a stroller too soon. The other thing, and this is for all of our children who might be considered an eloper, the standard lap belt or the standard stroller just comes with a lap belt. If you have a child who is an eloper or a child who needs more support from a 3-point harness, you're going to want to select the full transit option. And definitely double check the weight capacity. Right now, our smallest stroller is 75 pounds without the transit bundle, and our largest stroller, the 18-inch, is 250 pounds without the transit option.
Thank you, Molly. I want to also mention, if you have a child or a student that you referred that is on the wait list, we are going to wait until we pull them off of the wait list until we can provide the stroller to get those measurements, just because of course we want it to be the most up-to-date measurements that really appropriate for that child at the time that they're receiving it. So yeah, we will wait till then. Now I'll briefly go over the My Voice letter of justification for our speech therapists supporting our kids. The SLP, the speech language pathologist, does have to complete this letter. That is the only option for this letter, preferably, certified, ASHA certified, but not required. They must have completed a trial evaluation using an iPad or a high-tech device to ensure that it's the right fit. And I know speech therapists, they try a lot of different methods. There's different methods out there too, but an iPad does have to have been trialed before we're able to approve to make sure it's a good fit. And they have to, in this letter, you'll put what app you're recommending. So on the iPad and in the Apple Store, there are so many different AAC apps, and none of us here at Variety or SLPs or have the expertise to determine what's right based on your letter. So we really rely on you and your expertise and what you know about each child to determine what the right app is for them. We can download any app on that device that is available on the Apple App Store, any one communication app. For those letters, we ask that you put it on letterhead and have your form of signature as well. We ask that you give a little information about diagnosis and the communication disorder and their history of communication, how they currently communicate, any specific communication needs that aren't being met, as well as some history of your trial, some history of what's been tried. And for the iPad trial or high-tech device trial, we ask that you give information about the history and length of that trial. If there were different apps trialed, please list those in there as well. But in the end, let us know which one was the best fit. We can provide up to 2 devices every 3 years, but I say, make sure, take your time, basically. I'm saying take your time with your trials to figure out what the best one is, because once that app is on that device, we cannot change it. So they'll have to wait 3 years before getting a new device from us to get a new app. So that's why that trial period is so important to us. If you have specific questions, definitely reach out to us, but please include all that information in your letter, as well as where the device is to be mailed for customization by the SLP. So Variety, like I said, we're not experts here. We simply put the app on the device, we make it a dedicated device, and then we send it to the speech therapist. So the speech therapist, your kids, how to work in those apps and, set it up just for them. So we ask that you put the best mailing address to do that into your letter, because we don't mail directly to a family's home. We really like to keep this as a partnership with the SLP and the family, so that, so that they're set up for success before it even gets in their hands. That's our goal. We have templates for all these letters, as I mentioned, that we can send you. I also want to point out that these letters, we call them medical justification for a reason. We want to differentiate them from letter of medical need that insurance companies request, because we don't need that 10-page letter giving details about their whole life history. We don't need a ton of information. If you hit all these bullets in 1 to 2 pages, that's great. We'll accept that. So definitely keep that in mind. And I'll turn it back to Molly for after an application is submitted.
All right, so you've submitted your application, but now what? It doesn't just go into cyberspace and float around, I promise. So Kayla will enter the application into our system, and that can take up to a week. Once we have it in there, it's assigned to program staff. Staff will review it, and this can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on current volume and the time of year. Please, please, please be aware that our busiest time of year is the spring, when schools are getting ready to finish out for the year. If we're missing anything, program staff will reach out to the family. If it's something from the family side of the application, if we have a question for the therapist, we'll reach out to the therapist. We do everything email first. If we haven't, we'll go via phone. Then we have approval, and then we either have a fitting or we order the equipment. So once you're approved in My Bike or My Stroller, you do have to attend a community presentation in your region. And so these presentations happen depending again on our flow of funding and how much equipment we have to go to a specific area. So again, if you are aware of any funding possibilities in your area, please reach out to one of us. At these presentations, we have 3 goals for our families. That is safety, confidence, and empowerment. And to ensure that we have Blackburn's medical staff there to review our safety, usage, and instructions. The child will be properly fitted on their equipment, so it is essential that the child attends the presentation, and Blackburns will make any additional adjustments needed. And finally, Blackburns will assist each family into loading their equipment into the vehicle. And it is important to note that our bikes, while they do break down, they do not break down small enough to fit into a 4-door sedan or 2-door sedan. It is important that you have an SUV, van, or pickup truck, and the trunk is cleared. Unfortunately, again, our wait time is a little bit longer. It is a current wait of 6 to 8 months. Sometimes it is shorter. We do try not to make it any longer than 8 months. So again, for strollers especially, make sure you're considering the child's growth rate in mind. Are they going through a growth spurt? Have they not gone through a growth spurt in a while and they're due for one? We want it to last. And again, everything varies based on the volume in the region and the flow of funding. We have a small team, and our agreement with Blackburns is that in order to go to any one particular place, we do need at least 5 pieces of equipment to present. So the approval for My Voice, once you're approved, we're going to add you to the queue for setup and distribution. We will notify the family and the SLP, because for the SLP, we need you to sign the transfer agreement. No iPad will be set up until we receive that signed transfer agreement. Once we receive the signed transfer agreement, we download the app, restrict the iPad, and mail it. We will send the Apple ID information, Apple Care information to both the SLP and the family. And then we do expect the SLP to set up a time to meet with the family to review the device, get them started, show them how it can be utilized, and any other information that they might need. Again, we're not speech therapists. We don't have that knowledge. We are really depending on you to support us in that regard. Our goal is 6 to 8 weeks from approval. We are a little bit backed up right now, but we're hoping to be moving quickly here soon. Again, our busiest time is in the spring before school ends, so get those applications in early. And then just some helpful things to know. We can provide one singular child up to 2 bikes, 2 strollers, and 2 communication devices. So how often can you apply? For a voice and stroller, you can apply after 3 years of receiving your first piece of equipment. And our new Riften bikes, you can apply after 4 years. Unfortunately, we do not have the capacity to replace lost or damaged equipment. However, if you have a bike or a stroller that does have some kind of damage or wear to it and it's not working appropriately, send us an email. We can either tell you that you're eligible for a new piece of equipment, or definitely send us pictures of it, because then we can confirm whether or not it's covered under warranty. All voices get 2 years of Apple Care, and you can check your coverage at Apple. And then if you want to donate your equipment, old model bikes and strollers, devices, ask your local school district, ask your intermediate unit, ask your therapist. They might know someone that has a need for it. You can also reach out to a community organization such as Reagan's Journey. They have 2 locations in Pennsylvania now, one in Lancaster and one in Tarentum.
All right, I'm going to pop this up again just so that you can grab the contact information for the person in your region. So you can reach out with any questions, but I'm also going to turn it over to our program coordinator, Kayla Haynes, to go through questions in the box, and feel free to continue to ask questions if you have them.
Hi, everybody. Good thing we don't have too many questions. So that means that Deanna and Molly super explained everything. So we're just going to go right down the list. And if you have any other questions, just throw them in there. That way no one's talking over anyone. So this question is about the household salary. Is that for gross income or net income?
Good question. We do use gross income.
Okay, so next, and we get this a lot. Is there an application available in Spanish?
Oh, that's something on our list. Yeah, we are currently working on that. Tom and Molly are, both of us are smiling like, yes, it's something we want to do. It's not something we've had the capacity to do yet, but it's on our to-do list. So far, we still, served a lot of Spanish speaking individuals and families with the help of the therapist or a teacher or, the intermediate unit or school. We've certainly been able to connect that way, but I would love to be able to. If you know of any other resources, Tom, did you want to say something?
I was just going to chime in.
Okay.
Ruth Gutierrez from our national office actually messaged me directly during that, and she said she's willing to help out as well. So we got participants in the meeting helping other participants and other programs.
So wonderful.
She's fully bilingual and has extensive experience in translation of documents of all sorts. So maybe a good resource for us here at Tent One in Pittsburgh is that we've got Ruth, who is a good partner and ally for us as well too. But I think overall, just longer term and definitely an issue that we need to address and make sure that we're providing an inclusive process for everyone. No doubt about that.
All right. And does Variety have any resources for individuals who do not live in our 59 counties? And do we plan to expand to Philly?
So there is actually a tent in the Philadelphia area called Variety of the Delaware Valley. And they have definitely looked them up. They have their own programs and resources available there. So I would definitely reach out there. Because of that, because they're in that area, Variety of Pittsburgh does not have any plans to expand, no. But absolutely check them out. I would also say for devices, check out organizations like there's Tech Owl, there's Molly, what's the list of ones we usually give? The Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation, yes. That's one. Yeah,
if you send one of us an email, we'll find
get you a list. Yes, we'll get you a list of resources out there. But yeah, definitely check out their tent as well to see all that they do out there in Philly.
So that's all the questions that I have in the chat. If anyone else has anything that they think of later or next week, let us know at any time. You can call the office or shoot anybody an email on our team.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Anything come through, Kayla? We'll give it a couple minutes and then we'll close out.
I'm going to put the Delaware tent address in the chat for the person who's asking.
Thank you, Ruth. That's great.
And thanks for being on as well, Ruth.
It was great. Thank you for inviting me. All right.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah.
I guess just as we're waiting to see if anyone else chimes in, we just appreciate you all. We're grateful to you. We believe in the spirit of collaborate, not compete here at Tent One. And we'll turn back to Deanna for some final remarks. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to also say thank you for joining us. Any other follow-up questions, or you have specific children that you want to check in on, you can reach out to either one of us. There's also always the info@varietypittsburgh.org email that we're always monitoring, and we can get you connected with the right person. And just thank you for your partnership. Thank you for spreading the word. And we're just so grateful for you. We couldn't do it without you guys. So